Hi, I'm Kat and I play red. Today we're going back to medieval times, all the way back to 2014, and we're going to have a look at Orleans. Now originally this was published by DLP Games and TMG Games and designed by Rainer Stockhausen. It's being reprinted. Ha-ha. Next year, Capstone Games are going to be doing a big box of it that has the invasion and the trade and intrigue expansions all in one box. So we thought we'd go back in time and have a look at how it plays. In Orleans, you have a village of people that's quite small at the moment. You're going to gain more followers and use their abilities to expand. The game is played over 18 rounds, indicated by these hourglass tiles. It seems like a lot, believe me, it's not. Your markers on the board here indicate the different followers, and each time you obtain a follower of the specific type, you'll move up. And each of these will give you different abilities. At the start of the game, you will have a small amount of followers in your specific colours. So obviously, in this case, they're red. Bear in mind, we're playing with the Board Game Geek Up set here. The original of this game just has cardboard pieces. So you're going to draw out of your bag a certain number of tiles, as indicated by the knight track here. You'll also be exploring the map, gaining resources and placing trading stations. At the end of the game, points are scored for the number of citizen tokens you have, plus the number of trading stations you have, multiplied by your position on the development track, shown at the bottom here. Coins left over are worth a measly 1 VP each, and your goods are worth different points values depending on their rarity. In your turn, you'll draw your chips and place them on your player board in order to do actions which will cause effects on either the main board here or the beneficial deeds board over here. So let's have a look at what some of these actions are. At the start of each round, players will place their workers onto the different spots. Let's put him there for now, on their player board. So let's have a look at what they are. The ship and the wagon actions here, if I were to fill these spots, would allow me to move on the main map here. So obviously the ship action allows you to travel over water, which is these blue lines. And the wagon action allows you to travel over the roads. So a ship action would allow me to travel here. And in doing that, I'd take the one good that I passed over. Same with the roads. So if I went across here, I could take this good. If there are two goods on a road, which happens in 3 or 4 player games, you still only take one. But obviously you can choose which one you want to take. If I travelled there and there's no goods, tough. So that is the ship and the wagon action, which leads nicely onto the Guildhall action. If I were to place my villagers here, it would allow me to build a Guildhall, which means I can place one of my guild halls on the city I'm currently in. There can only be one guild hall in each town. So if I've built here, no one else can go there. The one exception to this rule is obviously Orléans, which is where we started. Then on the player board, there are 5 different spots on the board that allow you to gain the 7 different types of workers. The monastery allows you to take monks, the university, scholars, the farmhouse, farmers, the castle, knights, and the village allows you to choose between fishermen, tradesmen, and craftsmen. There is a track on the main board for each different type of worker. So on my player board, I have the chips ready to buy a castle. So let's buy a knight. I take those chips off the board, pop them back in my bag along with the knight, and then I'm going to move up the relevant track, which is here. I'm going to move up 1, which means at the start of my turn I can now draw 5 villagers from my bag rather than the standard 4. Let's have a look at the abilities the different types of workers give you. At the top here we have the farmer's track. As you move along here, you'll gain the different resources shown at the top of the track. Also, the benefit here is at the start of the round, the player furthest along, which would be me, would gain 1 extra coin. And the person at the back has to pay a coin. The next track here is the craftsman. They allow you to take these cogs and place them onto your player board, reducing the cost. As I move up, my first one must be on a farmer, as indicated by the little white disc here. So if I were to take one of these, pop it on my village, and it means that I now only need these 2 chips to activate the village action. The next track is for the traders. The traders allow you to take buildings. So the first spot here only allows you to take a level 1 building, and subsequent levels allow you to take 1s or 2s. So let's have a look at some of the level 1 buildings available. This building would allow you to place a monk here and not be affected by the event tile of the round. Here you'd gain coins, resources, more resources, lots of different abilities on these, and the level 2 buildings give you even more complex abilities. So those are your buildings that you get from the trader track. Next we have the boatman track. The boatman track just gives you coins as you move up, and if you're the first person to get up to the top here, you'll get this citizen tile, which will help you towards endgame scoring. The knight track, as we saw, allows you to draw more chips from your bag at the start of the round, and there's also another citizen tile here. The last track at the bottom is the scholar track. Now this will allow you to go up the discovery track at the bottom. So if I was to move here, I'd move up 2 on the discovery track. Going up the discovery track will grant you citizen tiles. There are also coin bonuses, and this is what will affect your score at the end of the game. Next on the player board we have the scriptorium. So let's place some workers on here. A scholar and a knight. So if I place here, I take these off and I go up one on the discovery track, which we just looked at, and we pop these back in the bag. Lastly, we have the town hall. The important thing to note with the town hall is you cannot place your player colour workers here. It must be the ones that you buy. So I'm going to pop them there. Now, these will be going onto the beneficial deeds board here. Let's pop my monk here, and I'll get a bonus of 2 coins as shown at the top for doing that. If I was to place my knight here, I'd get 3 coins. However, if I place those, I'd finish this area and I'd gain the citizen token, which just sits to the side of my board ready for end game scoring. So if you complete a beneficial deed, you get the citizen tile. If you don't complete it, you just get the bonus at the top. Money can be quite hard to come by in this game, so don't dismiss 1 or 2 coins. Now we've had a look at the boards, let's see how a game round plays. The first thing we're going to do is turn the event tile over for the round. Now this is always the same for the first round. This one says that you can't place in the monastery. That's not too bad. Some of these can be really brutal and demand that you pay goods or money or lose workers. So remember, these usually take effect at the end of the round. Obviously, this one happens for the whole round. I'm then going to draw from my bag. I draw 4, which is just my starting 4. Now players can do this part simultaneously, just to save a bit of time. The first thing I think I'm going to do is go on the village here and get me some stuff. And now this guy, I can't use him to complete anywhere. I can choose to either leave him there for now, or I could place him and use him in the next round. So I think I'm going to wait and use him for the monastery next round. So when it came to my turn, I would take these guys off, pop them back in my bag, and choose whether I want a boatman, a trader, or a craftsman. And I think for now I'm going to take a tradesman, brown. So I take him, pop him in my bag, my jangly bag that's not very jangly. I move up 1, I take this, oops, this is why we don't stack stuff on the board, and place him. I am going to place him in my village. So that would be it, that would be my turn. So when I was saying there's 18 rounds, initially your rounds, you're not going to do much in them. Let's have a look at what the second one is. So this one is going to give me money equal to my position on the discovery track, where I'm currently at 1. But this I don't get until the end of the round. So I'm going to draw 4, and I'm going to place them. Oh, I need a scholar for the monastery. So I guess what I'm going to be doing is taking the scholar this round. Oh, and look, I've got enough to fill that as well. This is where these cogs become really useful. So in my turn, I'd activate, let's do the university. Take these, pop them in my bag, take a scholar in the bag, and move up the scholar track, which means I go up 2 on the discovery track. I'm then going to take another village action, which I think I'm going to take a trader. I'm going to take a trader. So that goes up. I take the trader, pop him in my bag, pop these back in my bag, and I choose a building. Oh, I think I'm going to take the bibliothèque, which is going to allow me to move up that discovery track, which is what the book symbol is all about. And I just place that by the side of my board, ready to use next turn. So now you'll see my bag with 4 villagers is going up quite a bit. I've got 7 in there already, but I'm still only drawing 4. So this is why getting the knights up is important, but getting your buildings out and your cogs out is also important. Moving around the board is important. Claiming these little citizen tokens, they're available various places. You need to get them. So everything is important, and you're never going to have enough chips to do everything you need. So let's take 1, 2, 3, 4 out the bag. Finally, I can get my monastery. I might put him there for the good deeds. And let's go here for another scholar. So the monastery is a slightly special spot and a special type of villager. This gives me monks. And if you'll notice, there wasn't a track for monks. The reason is these are already pretty special. These actually act as a wild villager. So I can place them wherever I want, and they're whatever I want, which is cool. So I'll pop them in my bag, move my guy from the town hall onto the beneficial deeds board. Now what do I want? I'm going to go down the bottom here, which means I can take the choice of 1 coin or 1 book. But looking at my position on the discovery track, I'm 1 away from that citizen tile. So I'm going to move up 1 and take that citizen tile. Thank you. And pop him into my supply for now. Over the course of the game, you're going to be turning these tiles over. Ooh, I'm making such a mess. This is why we don't stack anything, right? And at the end of the 18th round, don't forget your tile effect, and then you're going to be calculating your scores. So here's an example of a mean one. For every 3 food tiles you have, you're going to have to pay 1 coin. So that's a good example of a mean one. But that happens at the end of your round. So at the end of the 18th round, you're going to calculate scores, and whoever has the highest scores wins. So how do you calculate scores? The first thing you're going to need to do is look at this map. Let's pop some of these down. Now, I have the most trading houses on the map, so I'm going to get this citizen tile here. We always forget this guy, so remember that. If there's a tie, no one gets it. Tough. You're going to gain 1 VP for each coin left in your supply. You're then going to score points for your goods as shown on the board here. So the brocade is worth 5 points, wool is worth 4, wine is 3, cheese is 2. I disagree with that, they should be higher. And grain is worth 1. Coin is 1 VP. And then this is where your big score is going to come from. So let's have a look at that. You're going to add up your trading posts and your citizen tiles. So here I have 2 citizen tiles. I have 2 trading posts. So my base number is 4. I'm then going to multiply that by my position on the development track. So if I'd moved along one more over the course of the game, I would get 4 times 2. Obviously, this is an example game. Usually you'll find yourself hopefully at 3 or 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4 on the development track. So that would get me 16 points plus any points for coins or goods that I had left over. Ties are broken by whoever's highest on the development track. In Orléans, it's obviously important to build your bag, apart from the fact you want to hear that nice noise. The problem being, the more chips you have in your bag, the less likely you are to draw what you need when you want it. But you need those villagers because you want the bonuses from the main board. You want your cogs to make actions cheaper, you want your buildings for your special actions, and you want these citizen tiles. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. More stuff in here, more bonuses. More stuff in here, you're not going to get what you want. The event tiles can be harsh. We saw there the last one is going to cost you money, and that's why money is quite important in this game. However, you're going to reveal the tile at the start of the round, and it's not going to take effect until the end of the round. So you've got a bit of time to prepare, hopefully, so you can mitigate these to some degree, but they are going to stuff you over the course of the game. Also, you need to keep an eye on what your opponents are doing. If I've built a trade house here, no other player can. So getting these spaces, getting your own spaces and your trade houses down is important. It's not really a case of fighting with someone else, but it's getting what you need. Same with these citizen tiles. There's nothing more annoying than putting a load of chips onto this beneficial deeds board for someone else to swoop in, place the last tile and take that citizen token that you've been working towards. So it's not that players can block you, but players can take stuff that you want. So it's important to keep an eye on what other people are doing. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of symbols, but it's actually very intuitive. So once you've played a game or two, you're fine, you're off and you know what you're doing. Like a lot of these heavier Euro games. The first game is a bit like, woo, and once you've played it a few times, you're off and away and it's easy peasy. This is the DLP version, so there is an element of German to it, like these tiles and the building tiles are in German, but it doesn't matter. It's a language independent game. There's no real text on cards. Some of these are pretty obvious what they are, even though they're German, but it doesn't matter. We like Orléans. We're looking forward to the new big box. There's going to be a 5th player. There's going to be invasion and trade and intrigue in there. We've played trade and intrigue. We haven't played invasion. It's quite hard to get, I think, especially now with TMG sadly going out of business. It was one I never got around to picking up, and of course now it's even harder. I'll probably end up buying the new big box. Probably. As I said, the chips that we've got here are from the BGG store. They're really nice. The cardboard chips, with bag builders especially, if you're like us and you like to have a good rummage and, you know, a good dig around, the cardboard chips start getting a bit worn after a few plays. So these are much nicer and they're very satisfying to hear the clank as well. So go and have a look at the BGG store. The Geek Up bits are awesome. They've also got some other cool stuff, but these are really nice and something I'd recommend. I'd also recommend Orleans. It's rather good. We like it. We like a bag builder. Check it out. If you can find a copy, excellent. If not, wait, and Capstone will be bringing it all to you next year in one big box. Hope you liked this video. If you did, click like and subscribe. Come and say hello on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're off to Essen in a few weeks. So Essen Countdown has begun on Twitter. Check it out, see what stuff we're interested in. I'll probably do a video next week talking about some of our hot picks. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.